Yeah, that's me. I'm the one up here in this Brady Bunch conglomeration of squares here. Me and the fam. I'm Michelle Mendoza today. You're going to be listening to sports from maybe a different angle that you don't usually hear because we go a little bit deeper. We give you a message of hope. We often get to the God story and we give you inspiration, not just a bunch of scores, right? And I am here with the boys. These guys are my companions in sports. They're the guys I like to hang out with, maybe go to a game with, and definitely talk about it on Friday. Let me introduce you. Now, I just want to give you a heads up. I am still out on the road. You've been with me from Minnesota to Arizona, Houston. I've been in Miami for a bit, and I am near Tampa. And we're going to talk about just how cool it is to be in Tampa right now. Let me introduce you to my boys. We have with us Rich Hallstrom. Rich is the co author of Thunder Sports Network. Yeah. Mwah, mwah. Boom, right there. There's Rich Hallstrom. He's a veteran sports reporter from the Seattle area. Then we have Garrick Pang. Yeah, he will pang you, but it's pain free panging. He is a coach. He's a chaplain. He is a pastor, an all around cool guy. We call him the Reverend of Sports, Garrick Pang. Brent R. Baker, is an author of Breaking Yesterday. It may be the best sci-fi book with a God story message that you will ever read. You can get it now. And he is a sports reporter, photographer, and well, he's just awesome to have around. Then we have Matt Peel, muscle bound Matt. He is with us today, and he's the author. Don't distract me. Don't distract me. Author of Athlete in the Game of Life. There you go. Right now, I want it virtual. I want it virtual. Matt is the author. If it's virtual, settle down for a minute, boys. I'm trying to sell a book here. Matt is the author of Athlete in the Game of Life. And all of these books you can find at MyMichelleLive. You can even sign up for Matt's course, which he has a course for making you feel great. You gotta love it. In fact, it's bailed me out of a bad situation, which we've talked about before. Anyway, guys, welcome. It is time for sports. Yeah, that's a little dull, but I'll tell you what wasn't dull, guys. This week I was in Tampa. Now, as a member of the media, I can cover games all over the world. I didn't know I was going to be in Tampa. So it was a long shot that I'd be able to see the final game of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But, hey, you can go to the presser. You just can't go to the game. Well, I'm going to go to the game. I don't want to sit with a bunch of boring press people, right? Um, I did the next best thing. I went to a place called Hat Tricks, which is just blocks from the stadium. It's a hockey themed bar. It was packed wall to wall, 3 hour wait list to sit down, but some nice locals invited me to sit at their table and we had a blast. And here it is, Tampa, people, Tampa. Can you see that? Yeah, Tampa won the championship again. Second year in a row. It's been how long, Rich, since that's happened? Something like 20 years. There he is, Encyclopedia of Sports, Rich Hallstrom. Here's the thing. But Matt, you know what was really cool to me was thinking of watching this last year, right? We're all watching the Stanley Cup, and it just felt awful. No one in the stands, playing to empty stands. It's like going to a concert, no one's there in the bleachers. There was really no victory lap. How do you take a victory lap holding up the cup Cricket, cricket, cricket. I was so happy for Tampa because they got their victory laps. They got to feel the energy of the crowd in their own hometown. It was pretty neat, Matt. Yeah. Absolutely. In fact, there's something I wanted to share with you that blessed me. I mean, of course, I'll share maybe a little bit later the crowd where I was at absolutely coming unglued in those final few minutes. But there was something even greater to me that I loved, something that I don't see in Seattle. A couple of weeks ago, you guys heard me share the story of being in the press box during just a regular Sounders match. The national anthem is playing and I'm standing there with my hand over my heart, and some of the media in the background are literally mocking me for standing up and saluting the flag, right? So I turn around and I sing as loud and proud as I can. Well, I was absolutely at home in Tampa. You would not believe the atmosphere here at let me see if I can share this screen here, at this bar that I was at when they played the national anthem. Can you see this okay, guys? All right, let me play this. Getting ready to play the national anthem. Look at fast forward here. Look at this. Everybody, everybody standing up, hats off. I mean, how amazing was that? The entire bar. Nobody prompted them, no one begged them, no one said, "Hey, guys, let's just stand." The entire bar was standing up, singing the national anthem, cheering. They cheered and had as much enthusiasm as they did when their team won at the end. It was pretty amazing. I wanted to share that because wherever you're at, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys because I'm getting tired of hearing my own voice. Wherever you're at, sometimes you feel like the whole country has just gone to hell in a handbasket. Sometimes you feel like, you're the only one grateful for living in this land of the free and home of the brave. You're not. Look at that. And remember, guys. Remember what that's like for some of us who live in some left coast cities or some of the bigger cities where we've become disenfranchised with where we've come from, kind of disenfranchised with the values of America. We've been sucked up maybe a little bit, Brent, in the kneeling during the national anthem, and we've got to hate our country or something. We Yeah. It's still there. Anyone else want to weigh in on that? Oh, they went to win it at home. I think they did. Yeah. That's a true story. The mayor. I hope they lose so we can win at home. Seriously, that's a thing. That was a thing. Hey, and let's tell people what that is because I'm going to tell you what I was. I told folks I'm from Seattle, as you know. I told folks they said, "Hey, Bolts fan." I was like, "Well, I am tonight. Absolutely, I'm here. Cheering on the USA team all the way. I'm in Tampa, but next year, next year I'll be." Rooting for the Kraken, and a lot of folks didn't even know that the Kraken was a thing. So we well, hopefully they will. It is exciting to see differing cities that get those expansion teams. This is the first time for Seattle for decades upon decades. Seattle, who, by the way, was the first winner of the Stanley Cup, believe it or not. So, a little bit of trivia. I want to give you guys just a second of what the bar looked like in those final seconds of the game. Oh, it's getting counted down. Look at that. People going crazy. So what's really exciting here as we're at this hockey game, uh, the enthusiasm here. What you're not seeing in this picture, there are like three television stations here trying to cover this, and there's me. Let's just get to the final seconds when things go crazy. Look at this. I mean, people, strangers hugging each other. It was just something else. Tears and beers were flying everywhere. It was an incredible situation to be part of. So there you go. Congratulations to Tampa Bay for clinching this cup 2 years in a row. That's great. And congratulations to y'all still in Seattle for the Kraken who are going to be part of the conversation in the next year. So that's pretty cool as well. Guys, anything else you're looking forward to in hockey, or should we just roll on to the next game? I agree. I agree. So, I wanted to talk about Major League Baseball. The All Star game is going to be taking place in Denver on uh, Tuesday the 13th, I believe. It's going to be at Coors Field in Denver. The first pitch will be at 7:30 p.m. You're going to be able to see it, if I remember right, Rich, Fox Television, ESPN Radio. You'll be able to listen to it. Um, well, now there's some interesting things about the game. When we're looking at a bunch that we've talked about this, a bunch of politics that have kind of eked their way into the All-Star game, with it moving from Georgia to Colorado. People are still a little bit sore about that. Anyone want to bump in on that before we take on some more of the specifics? Yeah, just seeing if you wanted to weigh in on some of the politics involved. I mean, the it is to me outlandish because this is was a vote to the people. It wasn't, some edict handed down from a dictator. Who are the folks in Major League Baseball to decide if it is truly fair or not, or to be given to the rhetoric of one side saying, well, this isn't right because we don't agree with it, we're going to call it racist. And so you have the Major League Baseball entities acting on politics when they really, in my opinion, have no business doing it. And as Rich mentioned, uh, Brent, the laws in Denver are very similar to the laws in Georgia. So you're really, all you're doing is a bunch of show, and I find it reprehensible. Oh, are you saying that Denver, Colorado is mostly white? Hmm. Yes, I will tell you the demographics. Yes, it is much more white. Oh my gosh. Hmm. And that's fine. Work on your own house, but how about staying out of politics? They really had no business trying to poke their nose in and make a ruling based on rhetoric. Okay, I think point taken. Garrick, Matt, you want to weigh in? Cancel culture BS. Okay, yeah, and let's talk about that for a minute. Did you know? And the best person makes the team. Yeah, there's not a quota. Yeah. Do we need affirmative action? Is that what you're saying? We need a little affirmative action. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't. No, because sports will not work that way, nor does anything else. If you make sure that everybody gets equal access, that's the most important thing. Making sure that everyone has equal access. So no matter the entity, they can truly pick the best person. And if you are discriminating against, man, bring the hammer down on those jerks. Anyone who is that short-sighted, you deserve to fail, because you will, because the people with more diversity, who have the bigger playing field to pick from, the bigger example of people, they're going to come up on top. I get it. But here's something also interesting, going to what Matt was saying, and you too, Brent, that the American League, interestingly enough, did you know this, that their starting lineup, people of color. Let me see if I get this right, Rich. Catcher, Salvador Perez from Kansas City. He's from Venezuela. First base would be Vladimir Guillermo from the Blue Jays. He's from Canada, but he grew up in the Dominican Republic. Second base is Simeon from Toronto. We have Xander, I can never say his name right, Bogarts, and he's from the Red Sox. He's from, if I have this right, Aruba. Third base is Rafael Devers from the Red Sox as well, from the DR. And then you have a host of folks from the outfield, which I'm not going to remember everyone's name. I think Aaron Judd. Uh, but we're looking at an entire lineup of the American League being being people of color, where the National League, I think they have one guy, but it just shows it's not about color. It's about what they need to have, is not about race, except for human. I think there's a rule about humans. You're not going to have Buddy. You remember Buddy, the golden retriever? He's not going to be showing up at the World Series this year. That's it. That's where. Yeah, it's gone a little bit to the crazy side, but now that we've gone through some of the politics and race of it, any thoughts on just getting back to the game? I mean, we don't want to do what we're accusing everyone else of doing, is just focusing on politics. Let's focus on the game. Let's talk about. Okay. Anyone else? Whew. Yeah, it's going to be a fun game, and you know, aside from the move from Atlanta to Denver, I think baseball has done a fairly good job of keeping the politics off the field, as opposed to maybe basketball, other sports that we've seen in the United States. And I wanted to talk basketball for a minute. Phoenix and Milwaukee are going to be going head to head. And we've talked a bit about how it's kind of nice to see someone other than Golden State. I mean, the same players, the same players. It's kind of fun. It's Okay. Hey, I was talking to someone, being away from home, I'm going to be watching a lot of games. I do it anyway, out and about, sports bars, sports places that we can, gather with some folks, get their take on what's going on. And I was in a conversation with a guy who had this argument to say that he thinks of all of the endurance that it takes in sports, that it is the guys in the NBA who are probably the have the highest level of endurance because of how many games they play during a week, how hard they have to press that court while they play. And I thought, well, that versus, can you imagine running for 2 45 minute stints of soccer? I mean, come on. But he said, hey, yeah, but they usually do one a week. And I thought, I told him, you know what, you be watching because I'm going to throw this up to the guys. Yeah, that's true. Okay, there you go. Maybe. Yeah, that's a lot of games, but you do a lot of sitting. Come on, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, here in America, there you go. Yeah, that's true. That's a good question. So, if you're watching, as you're watching or listening, you may want to shoot us your thoughts as well. You can reach me, Michelle at MyMichelleLive.com, or just go to MyMichelleLive. As we're talking soccer, by the way, we're going to get to the Euros. CONCACAF Gold Cup is on the way. But I wanted to linger there with MLS. First of all, Sounders FC up there in Seattle, my hometown. What the heck? Really? 13 games undefeated. It is a feat never before achieved by any team in Major League Soccer in the United States of America. That is astounding. Sounders are sitting up top on the scoring of MLS, and are they stoppable? And what is it really? What magic have they found, guys? Because is it coaching? Is it the long term planning? Is it the Sounders Academy and raising people up? Because they've had, for those of you who may not follow MLS or know what's going on up there in Seattle, they've had some major injuries. Jordan Morris, their goalkeeper, Stephen Fry. I mean, some of their major characters are out, and yet they're still absolutely dominating. What's going on there? And I don't think he's a spectacular goalkeeper, guys. I'm sorry. I don't think he looks like he's coming into himself, obviously. Well, I'm not dissing him. I'm just saying that he looks like he's coming into himself. He doesn't look like he's, in his best game. It looks like you watch him develop. Hmm. Roster. Well, something's working. Something's working, and maybe we could say coaching has a big part of it. And if you could say that, then maybe as we switch gears and talk about Toronto, oh my freaking lord, that is the drama of the week. So Toronto FC, we were just talking Seattle Sounders. It was just a few years ago. Sounders and Toronto were battling it out for the top place in the MLS Cup. Toronto is, just kind of swimming along the very, very bottom. Well, this week they fired their head coach, Chris Arness. It was just Sunday. 6 months, less than 6 months, I would say, after hiring him, uh, they had 7-1 lost to DC United. Now, that was the most lopsided game, the worst in their entire history. They had a 1-8-2 1-8-2 record. So they let him go. Now, here's the question of the week for you guys. I mean, we're talking male ego here. How does Chris Arnas feel today as Toronto won 3-2 over the Eastern Conference leaders, New England Revolution, Wednesday night? How does it feel to be Chris today? He feels you're saying he wait. I'm getting lost in this. You're saying he feels relieved today cuz I wouldn't. I would be like, "Oh my gosh." I don't know. Does anyone see it from my point of view? You all are just saying, "Yeah, I'd be sitting at home saying, "Well, I'm sure relieved that." Really? You guys are all on that same page. Okay, gotcha. I gotcha. I want to hear what everyone else has to say. So you guys are all on this page of we would just sit home and say, I'm feeling relieved today. Really? Okay, okay. Anyone else? Because I don't know if I just have a bad attitude and I need a little attitude adjustment because I would be sitting home going, oh, darn, really? Yeah. Well, the Patriots too. That's it's not just a good coaching. It's all the way down. Yeah. There you go. Matt, you've been quiet. How are you feeling today if you're Chris? Yeah? No, no. We'll see how it is. Yeah. Well, and it'll play out as the season and the next few. Well, we just have assistant coach stepping up. We'll see how it plays out. We will indeed, but it's been interesting. That's as we watch as we're getting towards the latter part of the MLS season. It's it is what it is, but it goes to show to a deeper story, which we always like to get to on this program. That you may feel like you are in life against a losing season. Sometimes you just got to change things up a little bit. Look, they've had a losing season. They get this one victory, which I'm not going to downplay because they won against the Eastern Conference, the leaders in the Eastern Conference. That feels good. Sometimes you need to just change things up, and eventually you'll see your W. So there's some encouragement, as I think sports is kind of an analogy for life. But as we talk about soccer, I know some of you are biting at the bit to talk about Euros because Garrick, you predicted it weeks and weeks ago on this program. Italy was going to go all the way. Now, you have a close tie to Italy with through family. You have friends and family in England, so you're kind of fighting it out there in your own soul. But it's kind of it's been exciting to watch. Let's see it. Sport it off, Matt. There you go. Well, it is kind of hard when you have a question mark hanging over you when you go in. Yeah, very true. Very true. Do you guys want to make some predictions here? Let's start with Rich. All right, Brent R. Baker. Matt. And Garrick, you have to stay with Italy. We're not letting you off because you predicted it, weeks ago. So we're not letting you off the hook on this one. Oh, no way. No way. I'm sorry. No. All right. So we Oh yeah. Well, gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. And it's interesting when we talk about controversial calls because we're coming up on the 16th CONCACAF Gold Cup. And if you don't know about it, it's a biennial international soccer tournament. It's going to start this weekend. Mexico's the defending champions, but something interesting about this tournament, fellas, is that for the very first time, VAR is going to be used. So it's the very first time video assistant refereeing system will be used during this tournament. So good. I say it's good. Yeah. Yeah, looking so I'm kind of looking forward to that this weekend. And as you said, there's always something soccer going on, right? It's very mm, yeah, we're pros here. Neymar. Oh, I'm sorry. That hurt. Oh, ow. Oh. Sorry. Yeah. I hate that. Okay, so let's take that to another international stage. Now we know that the Olympics are not going to have fans in the stands. Are you kidding me? I am I no On one end you can understand that they're saying, hey, people coming from all over the world converging with their own brand of COVID intermixing, and it's just a super spreader. I hear what they're saying, but poor Japan, they have lost so much money in putting this off from last year. They've lost so much money, and how do you make that back? Well, people spending money, people coming in, people going to hotels and restaurants and buying tickets, and there'll be none of that. This is cray cray. We got to take this on, Brent. Yeah, it's it's really disappointing. I mean, that really is part of it. And haven't we kind of experienced that in the last year? Where we've talked about it from the Stanley Cup to soccer to the Olympics. Sports is not just about someone playing the game. It's about interacting with the media. It's about the fans being in there participating and being part of the action. This is what sports has come to mean. It's not just who can jump the farthest and shoot the best and twirl with awe. There's something more to it, and we're missing that. Well, as it is, spectators are banned from the Olympics. So, boom, that it's very disappointing. I'm sure there's a lot of people who had their tickets, and to what you had been saying earlier, Matt, even just playing to your friends and family, boom, gone. Yeah. You said it, buddy. Well, there you go. There you go. Organizational competence. Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask you guys if there's any other sports stories that we didn't cover today that you think our viewers and listeners should know about. Yeah? Can I tell you guys a story about the Yankees? My dad was a Yankees. Some of you have heard this. My dad was a Yankees fan. When I was a little girl, we go to games, and we watch games. And this is why I report sports, is because he had all girls. So by the time he got to me, the youngest man, he made sure I knew how to throw a football. He made sure I knew how to catch and hit a baseball, man. So I am who I am because of my daddy. But here's the thing: every time the Yankees won, he'd buy me a banana split. I got to be a chubby little girl. We lived in Seattle, Washington, and my mom said, Michelle's getting fat. What'd she get? Well, every time, we're always getting a banana. So my dad switched it up. I'm sorry, Seattle, but he said, okay, every time the Mariners win, we'll buy you a banana split. The rest is history. I'm not. All right, we've got a bunch of snowflakes entering Major League Sports. We'll stop there. It's time for us to take our final shot. And what we do is we go around the table and just give a quick shout out, an idea. Sometimes it's sports stories, sometimes it's something else. We're going to start with Rich Hallstrom. Yeah. Yay. I can barely spell my own name. Matt. Yay. I like it. Brent R. Baker. All right, Seattle guy. And the other Seattle guy there with Seattle Mariners in his backdrop. Paying us, Garrick. Make mine a double. Wow. Okay. You look an awful lot alike too. My final shot's going to go to gymnast Simone Biles. This is something from someone who really enjoys women in sports. She did something pretty amazing. If you know, Jordan Childs was not quite cutting it in gymnastics. She was on the brink of giving up for good. She struggled after not making the world championship in 2017, finishing 11th in nationals the following year. So Simone said, you know what, come to she looked at her just as we were saying sometimes, when we were talking Toronto and the coach, sometimes you just don't feel like you're making your potential in life. Things aren't working right. You're just not getting any W's. Sometimes it just takes someone reaching out and helping your circumstance change just a little bit. She thought if she just had the right coaching, she just was at the right gym, and she reached out and helped someone that could be her competition. Come on. And so she took it as a team idea, and now they're both great friends and Olympic heading. So I just think that's really great, and maybe an inspiration as we get to a deeper story on My Michelle Live. Looking for the win in life, well, sometimes you're going to have some losses. Sometimes you just have to change your attitude, change what you think you're capable of. And sometimes when you're in that W, maybe it's time for you to reach out to somebody else and help them and give them a hand up so that we can all be winners in this game of life. Now, I want to encourage you. Here's what I need you to do today. I need you to go to My Michelle Live. I need you to comment on our page. I need you to like us and share us wherever you're listening. And here's why it's important. In this age, all of us feel like we're kind of losing at the game of life, like things are getting out of control in this country. But then you hear this breath of fresh air of good news that, you know what? America's alive and well. There is hope, and there's hope for you. Well, when you hear stuff like this, you got to share it. Help us to grow, help us to get that word out. So like us, share us, comment. I don't care if you just add a smiley face, and email us. We'd all like to hear from you. You can just go to mymichellelive.com. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. You know I love all of you. Thanks for being with us today. And that, gentlemen, is a wrap.